Hello there, HR Inc. My name is Alexander Lowe. I'm the president and founder of Gator Cubing, and today I would like to show you a few things about our company. Gator Cubing is an online speed cube retailer and distributor. What is a speed cube, you may ask? Well, the Rubik's Cube has come a long way since the 80s, and now is something that people compete in to get the fastest times. In order to keep up with these ever-decreasing times, there needed to be new hardware changes. So companies all over the world, predominantly in China, started manufacturing their version of the Rubik's Cube in order to make it the fastest. In order for them to sell their product, however, they needed one-stop retailers online in various countries in order to distribute their products, and that's precisely what we are. Our two main competitors in the industry currently are Speed Cube Shop on the West Coast based in California and the Cubicle on the East Coast based in New York. The approach we are going for is the differentiation approach. The reason for this, as opposed to a cost leadership strategy, is because the manufacturers set the price and companies that retail these Rubik's Cubes choose to have smaller margins, so the price is pretty locked in stone. So instead, with the differentiation approach, I will be going for high quality, high customization in order to guarantee optimal customer satisfaction. The specific job I would like to focus on is Quality Assurance Cube Technician. This is because this job is vital to our differentiation approach and therefore vital to the success of the company. A few job dimensions I'd like to focus on are 1. Skill variety, which is just the number of skills required to complete the job. A few specific tasks in this dimension are 1. Quality assessment. Is the cube faulty in any capacity? And 2. Customization technology. Was the cube customized precisely how the customer wanted to? The next job dimension is task identity. The job being completed from beginning to end. The first specific task here was the modded cube up to the standards of the company and other modded cubes before it? The second specific task is, did we remain high quality from receiving the cube to China all the way to the customer receiving the cube themselves? The next job dimension is job feedback. It's the direct and clear information received by employees. The first specific task is the ability to accept feedback from a superior regarding timeliness and quality of performance, and the second being feedback from the customer with customer satisfaction and quality. From those job dimensions, I've chosen a few specific tasks that I would like to expand upon that I feel are most important to the company regarding the knowledge, skills, abilities, and others viewpoint. The first is the quality assessment. You need to have the knowledge of the cubes and how they function, as well as the motivation to ensure maximum quality. The next being the customization technology. You need to have the ability to use your hands meticulously when applying things like lubricants to the cube. And you also need a skill, which is things like tensioning and understanding the cube and having the skill to do it yourself. Finally, customer feedback. You need to have the openness to accept the feedback and then the drive to use that feedback to improve upon your work. Although fairly established, the cubing market is rapidly changing, and there's a few industry changes we need to keep our eyes on. The first major one, which will always be present, is technology. Cubes are constantly being innovated. Things like lubricants, tensioning, are all changing constantly. So it's important to update our knowledge on the cube constantly throughout the career at the company. Something else that's important is to be media savvy to keep up, which would fall into the other category. Next up is a political change in the industry, growing tensions with China. This can affect shipments of cubes as most manufacturers are based in China. This can affect the ability to communicate shipment issues to the customers, and this may alter feedback received, making it less about the employee and maybe more about shipment issues in timely fashion. Now that we've introduced ourselves, let's talk about some specific human resource plans that we have for Gator Cubing. Now, Regarding training, our task statement is that Cube quality assurance technicians will conduct and analyze the quality of cubes from beginning to end of the customization process. Now, it can't all be rainbows and butterflies. We do have to address some potential hindrances. Look, understanding the cube is a niche set of understanding. Therefore, it's important to recruit from cubing events or colleges where the knowledge is more likely to be present. But once we hire, we can use knowledge-based training. It's cheap, effective, and can teach many people. Specifically, I would use the lecture and classroom style. As I've learned from this course, it is stated that training and the transfer of training is most effective the closer it is to the actual job itself. In order to maximize the transfer of training, I will be hosting these lectures during week 1 of the position, and the skills taught in these lecture halls will be exactly the skills necessary and the way that they are used in the job itself. As a company, it's important that we measure and make sure that the training by the new employees was effective and that they actually learned the knowledge necessary to complete the tasks of their position. The way that we will go about this is a pre-test and post-test. This will be a pen-to-paper test. The same exact test will be administered before the lectures and after the lectures in order to see what was learned. The specific questions will regard everything about their position, from cube tensioning, cube quality assurance, cube lubrication, and everything in between. It's important that these tests are the same, but they are taken in a farther distance in order to make sure that they actually know the information that was taught to them, and it's not just fresh in their mind regurgitation. This is also known as the cognitive outcomes approach, pen-to-paper tests, really to measure specific knowledge gained throughout our training process. As an employer, it isn't enough to just hire people, but also it is important to make sure that people and your employees have a future at your company, and it is important to foster that future. A few ways to do that is 1, job experiences, transfers, promotions, downwards movements, giving people the ability to try different facets within the company. The next is an interpersonal relationship mentoring program. While the class lectures I discussed in the last slide will work in terms of training, it's always good to have a mentor-mentee relationship, someone you can ask questions to directly, as it's not always easy to go directly to the top for questions. And then finally, assessments. As we discussed in the last slide, assessments are a big part of this company in making sure that all knowledge is received by employees. So having assessments from superiors is still imperative for the future of the employees. With all of that, as well as our training method, I think the way to find a successor is fostered directly in-house. With all of these things in mind, finding a successor who has the knowledge, the relationships with their fellow employees is perfect with inside the house, and we will never have to worry about outside hires for major jobs like CEO. It is important for our company to have ways to track our performance and make sure we're remaining competitive. Things like making sure our technicians are being timely in the completion of the modifications of cubes. Things like specifically measuring the quality of cubes, holding it up to standards of our previous cubes. One measure I'd like to specifically talk about is customer reviews, since this is the most form of strategic congruence, which is making sure our measures reinforce our company's goals. And since our company's differentiation strategy is to have the highest quality in the United States, then it's important to use customer reviews which show the quality of our products. And that is why that is strategic congruence. But we also need to remain reliable, valid, and specific. And we have goals for that too. Reliability, time of completion, time of shipment, validity, how it applies to all aspects of the cube, the lubrication, the tensioning, etc. And specificity. What information is specifically told to the employees by superiors or by customers? These measures are extremely important in making sure we remain competitive and follow our differentiation approach. Thank you very much. This is Gator Cubing. My name is Alex Lowe. I hope you wish to invest. Thank you.